Do 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 do. We are here getting ready. We're kind of fine. Get all the stuff situated where they're all on the same server. Well, we're getting the servers synced up, connected, ready to go. We're all on live on different types of things, yo. So if you're on like the Facebook, Twitters, the YouTubes, you could see here. There's probably other places I don't even know for real. Just go ahead, stay put. Another 30 seconds. We're almost there. You got this. Come on, for real. It's going live. It's set up in time. It's set up to go about where we are now. Well, I think that's about it. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is 3D Changes Perspectives, and that is exactly what I'm hoping to do today. Um, is change your perspective on digital sovereignty with a Linux machine. So yes, we're talking about hardening a Linux machine. Um, I know that to some that's going to be absolutely an insane concept. Like, bruh, you can't actually do it. But at the same time, I'm sure there are some people sitting on the edge of their seat wondering how in the heck is this happening. Well, we're gonna break it down for you. Um, as I'm trying to get the as I'm trying to get the um, chat ready to go, let's go ahead and bring in the sponsor of the show. So I want to thank roundlyx.com. That's right, go to roundlyx.com today to sign up for DCAN to your crypto. That just means that you're going to, every time you spend your card, you're going to round up your transactions when you spend on a credit card or a debit card, and it's going to buy you cryptocurrency. So that way you can get into crypto an easy way, and it's not a whole lot of time. It is what we call daily crypto average. So you're daily adding in, or you're adding in a little bit here, a little bit there, and in the end, you end up with a good amount or stuff that you can do with. I like to use their ideal bumps. It's something on there that, for me, I use the ideal bumps to tell me what to DC in, basically. I love it. Anyways, go in there, use Change Perspectives. When you sign up, get free $15 in Bitcoins a day, roundlyx.com. Alright, let's go ahead and get on with the getting on. That is so awesome. Thank you again, roundlyx.com, for sponsoring us and the Bitcoin Live Network. So let's go ahead and get today going. We want to know exactly what is using a Linux system to accept the responsibility of device sovereignty. Yeah, really, Linux is kind of boss, so let's just level up. And if you listened to the other two episodes, then you'll notice something about each one of the intros. They kind of give you a heads up about something. If you go back and listen to all three of them, you'll actually realize that I just said something that I didn't say quite the same. And I'll say it one more time. Using Linux system is accepting the responsibility of device sovereignty. Yeah, Linux really is boss, bro. It's time to level up, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to level you up with Linux. So if you're either on a Linux and you just want to know how to make your Linux better, if you're not on Linux and you don't know which Linux to get to, but the ideal is you want your Linux to be hard. Just like we got Mac hard, we got Windows hard, we made those harder systems to mess with you. They're better for you, and they're a little bit more secure. So, well, with Linux, it's how do you make Linux more hard? Is it just like using Linux less? Kinda. It's really about how you use Linux, and so pretty much Linux distros, or there's the Linux options, are so there more of them are hardened than not hardened, so it's kind of easy to find some really good ones, and then having an assortment to try. But the problem is they all try to balance one thing for another. They're either trying to make something a little bit easier for you, make something a little bit better for you. There's always something, right? And so for like everyone else, like when we did the Windows and the Mac, that's more like we were trying to figure out what to do. But like with Linux, it's way more advanced in ways so that way it's like way more flexible. And so it comes down to whatever we do to the Linux probably is making it less hard. So the less we can do to the Linux, probably the better. And then things that we do on how we get and obtain things, just like previously, is going to make a difference. So the key point here is no matter how you want to make your Linux in a hardened state, there's probably already a Linux type out there for you. So today, I'd like to change your perspective on Linux with its mini distros, as in you don't have to stick to one, and you can do it. Like Linux is totally doable, bro, for almost everybody. So one of the key points I normally show people why, and it's kind of really difficult to show why, but unfortunately fortunately, there is Mr. Christopher Barnett. Let me get out of your way. And if you guys don't know Mr. Christopher Barnett, let me get my keywords back up. What he does in this is actually a manifesto to Linux for end users. Mr. Christopher Barnett, he does explainingcomputers.com, this YouTube channel, and he also does Explaining the Future. So if you want to watch that one too, that's cool. But Mr. Barnett has created this video manifesto for people to basically learn more about it. So he has a lot of information here that kind of will help you understand why he's doing this. It turns out Linux, because of like Android and a couple of other major operating systems, is one of the most used operating systems on the globe. And most people don't know it. And so the ideal is he's like, get more people here. But he presents a lot of factual information that I just would not be able to pull out of the hair like he does, because he's been in the field way longer than me. But this is a really great one. So for anyone really starting to get in, not sure on these other things, I really recommend you check out this one right here, because this will at least give you an idea of the factual reasons why Linux is just considered to be a more superior or advanced operating system. Because, I mean, it's not always advanced. It doesn't always feel advanced, but it's just the operating system, that is. So let's get into what it really is about hardening. I can't really show you more than, like, okay, this is a major Linux system hardening website. This is exactly for what we're talking about. This gives you all the steps and techniques, and it is basically not that easy to figure out. Even just like looking through this until you've used Linux for a while, you're gonna be like, what? Huh? Who? And I get that. That's what this guide that we're doing visually here is for you today. I'm going to break not this one down. I'm going to leave you guys this for another day, for when you figure out what you're actually doing and you actually know how to install things and stuff like that. Because there's not really a whole lot you got to do. It really comes down to just like configuration. Every time you download something, configure it to set up a way, set up your bootloader right, and use your system better. Boom. Roasted. So, but we got, look, all the 3 of these, I'm giving you guys tips, tricks, help, everything. Giving you the full Monty of what you're going to need to get this done. So, Linux tips, yeah, everybody's going to want the tips. And this is what they look like. You see how you got this, like, whoop, and you notice that it says, if you are, well, let me get it right above my, yeah. If you are using Debian Ubuntu Linux-based servers, get the apt command, and there's a little link there, so we can click that, and it'll go to a place to remove secure services. So you take this right here, and you copy it. All right. Let me see if I can bring up my terminal real fast. Oh wait. Sorry. After I had reset my computer back to factory, I forgot to move all of my major systems into one spot. So I don't remember where they actually normally keep this. Ah, there it is. Boom. So now we have a prompt, and you're just gonna paste it in there. You're gonna hit enter. Now, I'm not gonna do that because I'm not gonna be doing that might be CPU intensive, because I got something CPU intensive right in front of your screen called VRM. So basically what we're saying is all of these, what you'll do is you'll take each one, you'll copy each line for the set of stuff that you need. So it's always going to be the one or the Debian Ubuntu Linux. And as you see, if you go up here, most network configurations, passwords, blah, 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 commands transfer can be filed and can be captured by anyone on the same network using a packet sniffer. So the common solution to the problem is don't use those dang things right there, and switch to some kind of encryption. And so you're going to type the following yum command to delete these problems with these things. Boom. And then if you are using an Ubuntu, so as you see, each one of these are pretty much going to have or and or. So you're going to do yum or the apt get. I use Debian, so I tend to use the apt get all the time. But everyone's got their own flavor, and that's kind of the point of Linux. Everyone's got their own flavor. I'm not going to go through this whole list for you. This is for you guys because this one's, as you can see, it's actually really simple. It's like just put this into the command line. Okay. Put each one of these one at a time. Put them in the command line. Okay. Hit enter. Okay. So one of the things that we do need to be, you got to be worried about is this little command right here. Minus RM. Or RM in general. Like, is bad. Now, I don't mean it means to remove. So you need to keep that in mind because there's a running joke where people in actual, need are asking questions and people end up giving them a command and they paste into their console, their command prompt, their terminal, and they end up, removing their computer. They erase their operating system. So the second you turn it off, or sometimes in the middle of the process, it will just mess up, and it goes brick. So you gotta start back over. And that's kind of the point of Linux. Is like, it's fine, bro. As long as you got your daily backups, you're good. As long as you got your daily backups, you're good. Sorry if that was a bit loud. I want to make sure everybody heard that. Because that's the point of Linux. Linux can be deleted, removed, redone over and over and over. It's not like Windows and it's not like Mac where it has to be there. So you can even change your Linux version constantly if you want. There are people that do that. They'll just have they'll know that if they have one distro type that uses a set of programs and stuff where the file systems don't save the same, they might save text files or rich text and plain text. They might save HTML files, HTML and text files. They might just save stuff in more optionable ways to make it easier for them for Linux distro switching. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have a properly set up file manager and you're good to go. And I mean that everyone has a file manager or some kind of way to manage your files on your computer, whether it's Mac, Windows, Linux. It doesn't matter. Even cell phones do. And as long as you have everything organized there, you're good to go. So Wikipedia has an entire page on RM, so if you really want to learn about it, I think this goes into some of the memes and stuff like that. Also shows you them right here. It shows you the lines. It actually shows you things that people might tell you to do that will delete things. So you can always kind of be aware. This would be one to have good bookmark on and just be like, check it whenever you think you're getting screwed over. So I really want to go into pretty much a bunch of different Linux distros. So I went through and I hunt down, I find things. I want to make sure you guys get the type of Linux distro that matches and suits you. I don't know what's going to suit you, but you know what? I want to make sure I figure it out. So I found some really good hardened Linux distros, or distros that are easy to harden, which means they're pretty much already ready to go. You just got to be careful how you use it, and that's fine, because if you mess up, you got a daily backup. You can just remove it, try it again. No problem, yo. No problem, bro. And that's kind of what we want. That's why we say it's a more advanced operating system. I mean, they're plug and play, switchable. They're not always the easiest to use, but they got some that are. Arch Linux is probably the top Linux distro. And I'm not an Arch Linux user, and I'm willing to say that if you're willing to learn, and this is going to be one of the most stable Linux distros at your fingertips. This is one that when people say, "Oh, I don't have no problems with my Linux, bro," they're probably on Arch. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's where they at. or right there. That thing, right up there. Arch Linux. Come on, come on. Look at my hands. Uh, one of my AIs is not working. I apologize. Um, my AI is not looking at my hands. So, and it is power. It really is powerful. So Arch is the one that most people, if you really want something that's just gonna work, this is gonna work. You're gonna have to learn how to use it though. Arch Linux is a very special class of users, to be honest. There are Arch Linux users and there are non-Arch. Yep, don't worry about it. I said at the beginning, I am not an Arch Linux user, and Arch Linux users will let you know they are Arch Linux users. It's a thing. It's a real thing. So next we would go to Mint. Now, this link should, that QR should still work. It should still take you here. Okay. But I am not allowed on Linux Mint's main website anymore. We're just gonna continue on why I'm letting you know this information because, well, it's Linux Distro, so most likely you can get it anywhere else. It's most likely available to a billion different mirrors. So here's one of my favorite mirrors right here, DexBot. Get it here, why not? There's a bunch of different faces, and that's kind of something you're going to see more and more and more. They're different flavors of a Linux distro. And that's the best way to explain it. You see some of them actually use flavor titles and tags. But really what it is, it's like the way your desktop looks. So some of them feel more like, I think Cinnamon was more like Mac or Windows. Matt, I want to say was Mac, and then XFAE, I think is more like servers. Something's like they have something for everybody. If you want one that feels more like something else right out of the box, they probably got one like that. So it'd be irresponsible of me to not show you CentOS. Okay? It's one of those, it takes a bit to do it, but it's not hard. It is super easy. Let's get you the download link. Again, like, they're available on a bunch of systems. And there's a reason for why they're available on a bunch of systems. This is why it's be irresponsible for me not to show you. If you're having problems getting something to work, there's a couple of different Linux that might be able to work for you, CentOS being one of them. So we're going to go and show you their CentOS Git server. I mean, it's as simple as that. And there's a chance that if you want to do something specific around a Linux distro, if you can't find it already for CentOS, you just have to peruse this list. Like, if there's something you want to do and you can't find a distro specifically for it, most likely CentOS has whatever you're wanting to do already made. It's pretty much already here. Page of 185. Yeah, they have an extensive. It is a very extensive group of individuals that just love to try. So they do. And boy, do they make stuff work. And a lot of this stuff is like very small individual additions to get or to Cent in order to do something specific. Like this one says Java alternative to DOM and SAX. It's an alternative to a main system on your computer that is Java based instead of the other form of basement. So it might be for GPU usage or things like that. And I say basement means like I think it's actually called base, BASE, and then you got like so if it's Java alternative, it's going to be using the C side of code on the hardware, or it's going to be using direct machine language, so assembly code. So it might have faster implications of things, like anything web based. It's probably gonna be way faster. But anyways, if there's something you want to do, most likely they have 9,000 projects ready for you to try. So the next one we gotta say is Fedora. Okay, Fedora is another one of those like this is a classic, but it's one of those like you can probably get it working on everything and anything. This is a classic beloved Linux distro. Fedora is available for almost all types of hardware, and that's what their point of it is. You want a Linux distro, you want something that's gonna work. Might not always be the fanciest, oh, but it's gonna work. Yeah, this right here, like they're really great. I use it. I've used it tons of times. It is one I keep going back to whenever I'm having problems with something. Um, but I know many people don't want to use Linux because of gaming. I get it. A lot of games are no Linux, but there is stuff like Wine. There is stuff like Atom, and that might be the wrong one. There are Apex, not Apex. Flex. They might be that might be Atom, and then there are some and more companies going to having Linux alternatives for their games. So their DRM systems will work on it. And so it's kind of important to also point there are entire distros for Linux designed to work to play video games. Like Pop! OS got really famous really fast because it has Steam built in. Yeah, my thingy, it was taking forever to load, so I told it to stop. It's taking forever. It has a built-in dark mode, and it can be used on small machines as well as big machines. There you go, SteamOS built in. Ooh, OBS, Blender. So it's definitely good for small work machines. Whoa. And it is one of those ones that it's actually kind of fun. It can still be a pain in the ass and a hassle, just because like the way things are worded and stuff. But again, it's not bad and it's decent. It works on many things: laptops, desktops, mini servers. They got keyboard components and the operating system. Okay, so we have now passed this Absolute Linux is the first Linux that I'm going to show you that is beyond the point of normal Linux. You're thinking, wait a minute, Linux is hard. There's normal Linux and unnormal Linux. For hardened distros in Linux, there is regular and alternative hardened distros. So these are distros that are specifically hardened in different ways. Excuse me. So this is more for security conscious types of users, but this is also going to be for users that might have specific needs. And I'm hoping to help you find those needs, because Absolute Linux is no joke. It really is Absolute Linux. One of the smaller Linux distros available. It doesn't have much as in pre-built-in OS firmware software that would normally cause Trojans. This is actually one of the ones where you can get this to try to fight back against Trojan software, malware, and other common issuance or problematic issues that you have on your system. And this makes it really easy because there's almost nothing there. It's the very bare minimum. As you put on, if you start to have problems, you know where your problem is. We would recommend, if you're into one of these, you only add things once a week. Gives you a whole week to figure out if that is actually going to cause you issues. So, Absolute. Sorry. Sometimes getting a really light Linux, then weighing it down with the systems and options, da da da. That's how you can make sure your holes as you go. And this is a technique used by many users when they have something new they want to try. They'll throw in a lightweight Linux, they'll put on the thing they want to try, and they'll play with it for a week or two. And then if they see that it's cool, it's good, it's kosher, they'll drop back down to their regular Linux distro, they'll put their backup on, and then they'll install the new thing. It is a great method method to keep your Linux system safe. And because you can easily just wipe, go back, and wipe and go back, ain't no problem. Ain't no problem. Only problem there is your time. That's getting lost to keep doing that. But for some people, they get so used to doing it, like I'll have a USB stick that would just run one, and I'll have a USB stick that runs indifferent. And I'll just pop one in, turn on the computer, it boops into one. I move all my stuff onto that cloud, pull it out, put the other one on, load it up. It's completely different Linux. Just all they do is change USB plug, the little thumbstick plugged into the computer. Okay, so this is one of the first ones I'm going to show you that I don't have personal vetting in. I have not personally vetted this operating system. And kind of how like Fedora is a multifaceted operating system, it is built to just pretty much work on anything. This is a type of poly Linux distro. And multifaceted and poly Linux is basically the same terminologies, and I want you to understand that because Anti-X is a poly Linux distro, and distros that polymorph or slowly change with the system or user is what that really means. So this is one of those ones that it can change with you. It's one of those ones where it's also great for old computers. And you see here they're saying it's a magic thing, and you've noticed they called it anti-facet. So multi-facet is what they're claiming to be against, and by being a single facet, they are poly. They're able to morph and change on the fly. And a great way I like to look at poly Linux is like they just kind of fill in the gaps. I don't know any other way to explain it. Maybe try it and find out. It's a bit different, but they do have a video to help you along. It's a 2-hour video in case you're wondering. But that's an average setup time for most computers nowadays. Well, maybe not nowadays. I guess the last time I set up my computer took me a week. So, at some point in time, it was average. Okay, so we're going to go into Linux Lite. It's another one of those super light. So you're going to notice this is a trend. We're going to get lighter and lighter. Now this one's very light Linux distro, but you can see it actually comes set up to give you this feel of old classic computers. And if you're looking at the little thing, it reminds me of when I was in high school, computers back then. So, and they do have a thing here, but it does have free download. So almost everything on Linux, you're gonna see something like this. So be aware, don't be scared. They still have free download. Whoa, hold on. Sorry about that. So this is one that you can. There's still a free download. No, there it is. There's still a free download, but almost all these systems, they're just based on donations. So you donate, and then, but they can just keep doing their thing. So you don't donate, or you do donate. So you see right. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, you can actually download it for free. You can actually say, no, I don't want to give you anything today. My bad, yo. And you keep moving on. Or you can say, here's 50 cents. And then if you like it, you can come back and donate, something you feel it's worth. So that's the other great thing about Linux, is a lot of these are going to be set up like that, where you can do one thing and then, get it for free. If you like it, you can tell them you like it with some support. So you don't have to pay up front. And you're not going to have problems like Windows, where you get a free version and you can't do anything with it. It has to look exactly the same way all the time. Nah, ain't nothing like that. It's the opposite. It's free for you to play with. So, Ubuntu. Is that accurate time? Wow. So Ubuntu is kind of like Anti-X. It is a uniquely different type of Linux distro, not as exactly polymorph. This is a liquid desktop. It's very similar. I would even, polymorph and liquid very very awesome things. But you know, I don't know. I think the best way to explain Liquid Desktop might just be for old Mac users. It's like a workspace only desktop. It's like if you just only use the briefcase. Yeah, that's this. And you see here, it works on everything. So that's kind of the point of these alternatives. They're designed to work on tons of small or regular sized machines. They're normally quite useful for many different types of GPUs, CPUs, things like that. And they normally come in a variety of things. So Liquid Desktop is a very work-friendly desktop if you want to stay focused, stuff like that. And also, I think it's kind of minimalistic, but you can make it unminimalistic if you want. So, um, hey, Linux contains many revival distros or homemade distros, and this is kind of like a bit of both. This is like one to revive old computers, as you've kind of seen as a bit of a thing, but at the same time, I think this is like made by like a single individual, something like that. It's it's just simple and small, and it's kind of cool. I just wanted to show you guys this because there's a lot of ones like this out there that might be fun to play with. Um, so you know you can have fun with your operating system with Linux. You don't have to just stay put to one thing. So we have to get into Slackware. So Slackware is very modernized Linux, I think. I don't know another way to explain it because I don't really understand it fully, and I'm not gonna lie about that. Slackware is just a term I've been hearing since like '98 because it's like what slackers use is what I always thought. And it's normally designed around ease of use. You know, they have a co-op options. They have tons of different versions of the operating system. This is LADEs, you know, ones that everyone remembers. Um, Available for 32 and 64 bits. But Portis is a Slackware that when I ask people, like, what's a Slackware you'd want someone to get on if they don't know if they like Linux or if they're new to Linux, they always say this one. So people who use Slackware all the time, they're always like, yep, just do this one right here. Um, Pretty simple. So we got to give you something a little bit cutesy, I think, but at the same time, I got to let you know that there's a lot of people with families on Linux. So there's a lot of people that use Linux. They have families. Their kids use Linux, and so there are Linux distros designed around family. So if you have like a family computer or something, there might be a Linux designed for you. And again, under the ideal of this is still fairly small size. Um, Customizable within minutes, it's remasterable, has done for different types, there's tons of different versions and things that you can add on very quickly without changing your OS. You can just add in these little puppets or puppets and it does more for you, it makes it look however you want, and like I said, tons of different versions. So there's always something there for you, and I think this one's really cool. Yeah, I'm not personally that it's security side of it things, but its base seems to be pretty dang good. And you can see it's actually based on the original from 2003. Um, so this guy. Um, and when you come in here and you check out their stuff, you'll get why we say it's made by an original. Um, so, okay, keep moving. Tiny core, yes. Smaller core, because why not? You know what? Why not have a Linux distro you could probably code into a grain of rice? Um, it may not actually be that small, but it definitely feels like it. For somehow, this is really customable. Linux, if you want something completely custom, this is normally where you would start. You normally go here and then build up. For a lot of distros, this is what they do. So if you want to build a completely custom Linux, this might be where you want to go if you're not going to just straight up just use Arch. Um, we're getting to a point where we're like, I know I'm just showing you distros because there ain't a whole lot more I can do for you. I, I know. I know. You can't see my tabs. You don't know how many more there are left. It's fine. It's fine. But I do want to give some credit where some of these distros, people kept sending me back to Tech Radar. People kept sending me back to Tech Radar. And eventually I found this, where some of these distros came from. Some of them didn't. There's someone here I was kind of not sure about. And other things like that. So here's where some of my source comes from, because, well, there's more information here. So for each one of these, like Absolute Linux, highly streamed enabled distro, plenty of help documentation on hand, no live environment. So they just basically have some information here that might help you make a decision on which Linux distro you might want. Because when it comes down to it, some of the hardest things about using Linux is simply deciding on which Linux distro to go with. Um, and that's the real side of things. It's the real point of the Linux environments, is that they can be varietized and they can have different types. You can see here best for Windows users, um, older machines. So they have even more information here than I can explain. So very cool, handy thing for you to check out, picking your next Linux or your first Linux distro, um, whichever one it may be. Now, I pretty much figured today might end up being a shorter day because I can't really show you how to make Linux more hard, because we can get to a point where Linux can't even get online. We can give you something so basic it can't even get online, and you got to build its ability to get online. We can make it that hard from the box, from the start. But the other thing is, many of these distros actually have a live version. So a live version means that you can simply just what's the word? Use it. You don't install it. It's like it comes on, it's running, you play with it. Anything you don't, anything you have, it's just gonna delete anyways when you turn it off. When you turn it back on, it's gonna go back to whatever it was before. So it kind of lets you play with Linux, see if you like the feel or whatever, without downloading anything. Just kind of like, that's what some people, that's the only way they use their Linux. So it is also its own technique of use, is to do live. Um, so you may notice I didn't list Ubuntu and some other extremely popular Linux distros. I purposely tried to find distros that are a bit more hard from the start. Um, but still, I try to find enough different varieties to really make someone be like, that sounds fun to try. Because that's kind of the point of Linux. It's trying this, trying that, even if there's one specifically you prefer to use. And then just gives you a place to grab this distro, that distro, different things, and lets you kind of get a feel of what's going on. So on Linux, many distros offer that live version, and so you just do that live test. It's like download. It's like using without installing into the computer. You get a lot of people, they just install into a USB thumb drive. I was saying earlier, we saw one of these actually had that on there earlier. It said install, download or install. So it was like, these are the different options. It's just a matter of learning how to do it. And, not having a no-save Linux setup where you're installing a live setup, or, one that doesn't save anything on the computer, that's kind of what we've been describing almost this entire time. I'm going to bring this up. Here you go. The Sovereignty Build Hub. What did we say? Clean installs. I showed you some of the cleanest installs for Linux so far. Handle your own data. Well, if you're on a live version or you're on a thumbstick version, you're going to have your own external hard drive. You're going to have to store your data your own way, because once you plug everything out, it ain't going to know nothing. No default automation. I already took care of that. We started with nothing in the first place. Keep near new. Not a problem. It's on a thumb drive. Everything's not in the device is now just a shell. Device is a shell. Give up nothing. Sure, I gotta build what I can give up for them to get it anyway, so they're probably gonna get it. Have routine that backup. Remember, your daily backup. Your daily backup. Obtain, and keep in mind, if you don't do anything that day, you don't get a backup. Don't be one of those people that backups nothing. Side grab what you keep. Most of the ways you're going to grab stuff on Linux is going to be through torrents and stuff anyways. Sandbox, login programs, and browsers. Well, you can do that with Linux. Don't keep temporary files. Sure, not a problem. We're keeping the device as a shell. It's going to just delete everything when we turn it off anyways. Stay vigilant. Always be learning. Always be learning new things, trying new things, researching. And that was really the point of today. All the other ones, we didn't really go through this one step. Always be learning. Always be vigilant. Always be doing stuff. Pre-search your Windows operating system or your operating system version. Local offline setup. Just things like that. Basic stuff. And stay on top of things. We can change this up. Add in a little bit more text speech. Research more to learn about your operating system and device. 2 to 4 times a year. Research what you own. That's not hard. It sounds pretty easy to me. Now, if you're still not sure about which Linux distro to get, I would recommend this video right here. It's a part of a survival guide by Explain Computers on how to pick your Linux distro and drives. So, I want to give you guys that as well, because I did also give something to everybody on all of these. I still have that for you guys. Do not give up, because I want to say this. I was a bit worried about putting it in here, but if anything you are reading says it's going to delete your memory, it will do this. It will do this even in live mode. If you're in live mode, you're in anything with Linux, and it pops up anything, or there's something in red that says, warning, memory gone, or memory delete, or memory leak, or memory missing, as in it not yet, but may happen because of what you're about to do, it's not lying to you. I've actually seen, I think it was this guy right over there, Linus from Tech Tips. He was testing Pop, and it basically told him that he was going to delete his operating system, and he was like, oh, okay. And I don't think he understood that that really meant he was about to delete his operating system, and he deleted his operating system. He had to reinstall it. So, if you read what's being said, and anything is to be deleted, it will be deleted. If you're about to leave a session on something and it says, warning, don't say we'll delete. If you hit to leave anyways, it will delete. So, let's unlock the secrets of the ultimate into mastering commands. So, mastering Linux is really mastering the terminal, mastering the commands that Linux offers. And each Linux is going to be a bit different, but I try to find you guys some very generic master guides, and I found some. Because I thought this was part of this. This is the thing that everyone got on the other two. They got tips, tricks, guides, and help. Giving you some help, some tricks and tips, but no guides. Well, we got that for you today. So you want to know how to master the actual commands. We're talking about the actual commands, like ls. That's an actual command. cd, pwd, make drive, mkdir, rm, boom, 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 cp, or copy, mv, or move. So it breaks it down, it tells you what it is, and it tells you what it means. Simple. And if you're on Linux, you can then type that in and see what help, type in grep, help, see what happens. So, some people like books, man. They want to read a book about either how to use Linux better, how to be a better Linux user, how to whatever. Well, I found you 20, or a place where they get you 20 of the best free books, depending on what you need for Linux, including the command line. Use the terminal. Scared, you don't know what to do? Read a book about it, or listen to a book about it. Don't worry. The commands is Linux is all about the commands, so we got you some cheat sheets. Here's a PDF. Come grab it for free. And you see it's a big old cheat sheet. Look at that. Look at that thing. Woo. Oh wait, but there's also this one too. See if it will come in. I'm just trying to get you more. So this is another cheat sheet. It's a different one. Here we go. Um, Done a little bit different. I like this one. And again, yeah, all the stuff listed. Well, not all the stuff, but stuff listed below too. I think they. Now, does that say why real hackers prefer Linux over Windows and Mac? I'm actually nowadays there's tons of hackers on Windows. It's funny, and before they were tons of them were on Mac. Um, but there are Linux distros designed around testing systems and stuff. So if you had one of those, it would definitely make you feel like a hacker, even if you're not. Okay, all right. I gave you the tools. I gave you the things. I know this is like the third episode I've ever ended early, and it's weird how there's so much more to go over with Mac than Linux, but there's so many more options for Linux. But when it comes down to it, that was the difference. When it comes to Mac, there's so much you have to do because there's so much you can't see. There's so much you just can't be aware of or have any clue of. It's a guessing game. It really is. It's like, can we figure out how to close it or close all the holes? Can we get there? Can we? And it's with Linux. It's just well, just use a different distro. Where just don't add that or take that out. Something's giving you problems. Boot it out of there. Get it out. You don't need it. Linux is really designed to just work the way you want it to work. Yeah, might take a little bit of work to get you there. But that's what I'm trying to change your perspective on. Working on your computer, working on your device, knowing how to be better for your device, how to treat your device better is going to make your device last longer. This entire digital device sovereignty is for your device. So a little bit of work and effort is going to help make your devices last longer. And that's really what I've been wanting to change perspective on the last, 3 or 4 episodes? But at the same time, each one we change perspective on something different. And if you learned anything today, hopefully it's that Linux is here for you, not against you.